All right, let's talk about that super frustrating moment when your Ford just won't start. And to make things worse, you're staring at this cryptic code, B10D751. If that's you right now, stick around. We're going to break down exactly what this code means and, way more importantly, how to get you back on the road. So, picture this. You hop in your car, turn the key, ready to go, and absolutely nothing. The engine is silent. You're just stuck. It's that sinking feeling we've all dreaded, right? So you pull out your code reader, or maybe a little light on the dash tells you to check, and up pops this weird string of letters and numbers, B10D7.51. Look familiar? Well, if that's what led you here, trust me, you are definitely not alone with this one.
But hey, the good news? You've landed in exactly the right spot. We are going to totally demystify this code for you and walk through the fixes one step at a time.
Okay, so first things first, what in the world is this code actually trying to tell us? So at its heart, this code is all about your PATS key. PATS, that stands for Passive Anti-Theft System. And what's happening is your car's computer is essentially putting its foot down and saying, whoa, hold on, I don't recognize this key, so for security reasons, nope, I'm not letting this engine start. You know, the easiest way to picture this is to think of it like a failed digital handshake. Yeah. Every single time you put your key in the ignition, there's this little secret, super fast conversation that's supposed to happen between your key and your car. And here's how that handshake is supposed to go down. See, there's a tiny little transponder chip inside your key, and it sends out its own unique ID. The car's control module, which is basically its brain, is listening for that ID. It checks it against a list of approved keys. If it finds a match, boom, the engine is allowed to start. So when you see the code B10D751, it's just your car's way of telling you, hey, that handshake, it failed. Okay, so if the handshake failed, the big question is, why? Well, it turns out there are usually four main culprits. I like to think of them as our four prime suspects. The reasons can range from something as simple as a programming glitch to a key that's actually damaged, a control module that's on the fritz, or even an issue with the wiring. But here's a key piece of info. Those first two, the programming and the key itself, those are by far the most common reasons you'll see this code pop up. All right, so let's play detective. We're going to investigate each of these four suspects one by one, starting with the most likely culprit to help you figure out what's going on with your car. Okay, suspect number one, and definitely the most common, is a simple programming error. This happens a lot if you've just gotten a new key, or sometimes it can even happen if your car's battery has been disconnected or replaced recently. So the cause here is pretty straightforward. The key and the car just weren't introduced to each other correctly. And the solution is just as direct. Your owner's manual actually has the specific step-by-step for reprogramming. It usually involves a weird little dance of turning the key and listening for beeps or watching for lights. Now, if you can't find your manual, no big deal. A quick search online for your car's model and year will probably get you the instructions. Just make sure you follow them to the letter. All right, moving on. Next up, we've got to look at the key itself. I mean, they feel pretty tough, but that tiny little electronic chip nestled inside, yeah, that can definitely fail. That little transponder chip can get damaged if you drop your keys one too many times, or if it gets wet, or honestly, just from years of use. But hold on. Before you run out and spend money on a new key, try this first. Find your spare key. If the spare key works, well, you've just saved yourself a ton of guesswork. You know for sure the problem is with your original key. Okay, so let's say you've tried pre-programming and you've tested your spare key and you're still stuck. Now it's time to look at a more serious and thankfully much less common suspect. We're talking about the control module. This thing is the brain of the whole anti-theft system. And if it goes bad, it doesn't matter what key you use, it can't verify anything, not even a brand new, perfectly programmed key. Now, while this is a real possibility, it's definitely something you look into after you are 100% sure the keys aren't the problem. And that brings us to our final suspect, the communication network itself. We're talking about the actual wires that connect this whole system together. Think about it. A frayed wire or a connection that's just a little loose can totally mess up the signal. It's kind of like having a really bad cell connection during that all-important digital handshake. Now, this one can be pretty tricky to find on your own, so if you've checked everything else off the list, this might be the point where it's a good idea to have a mechanic take a look and trace the wiring for you. Okay, so we've run through all the suspects and their fixes. So what's the big takeaway here? What's the one thing you really need to remember? So let's do a quick recap. The four reasons you're seeing this code are 1. Incorrect programming. 2. A damaged key. 3, a faulty control module, or 4, a wiring issue. And the absolute key strategy here is to start with the easy and cheap stuff first. Check that spare key and try the reprogramming steps before you even start thinking about the more complicated and expensive possibilities. And remember, this isn't just some minor warning light you can ignore. This code means your car is actively immobilized. It's a security feature doing exactly what it was designed to do. But when it misfires, it just brings your whole day to a screeching halt. So here's the bottom line. Yeah, it's super inconvenient, but this whole system is really designed to stop a car thief in their tracks. The problem is when the system gets confused and thinks that you're the thief. But by following these steps, you can work through it logically, prove you're the rightful owner, and get your car running again. And all of this kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? As our cars get smarter and more secure with all these high-tech systems, you really have to wonder, when does a feature designed to protect us just become a giant pain in the neck?